I'm a natural psychic and medium, which I believe everybody is when they're this high. A lot of people get it knocked out of them. I didn't. I was raised in a psychic family, which has its advantages and its disadvantages, as you can imagine. I'm a medical intuitive. I'm an author. I've written the book on spirit elites, which some of you will have seen. I'm also a psychotherapist. I trained as a teacher, etc. So the healing course that Cindy was talking about, I wrote. So it's very much about what I've learned and experienced over the years. Now, medical intuition is a way of connecting with the body. And often we're talking about medical intuitives connecting with another person's body and communicating with that body. It is harder to communicate with your own body for obvious reasons, because your head gets in the way, doesn't it? Your head will get in the way and go, oh my God, I've just tuned into my stomach and look what I've seen. Yes? So we have to be very, very careful when we work on ourselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit about medical intuition, and then I'm going to give you a couple of exercises to take you through to see how you experience what medical intuition at the basics is about. Medical intuition is a very wide-ranging subject. Now, one of the things about the body is that the body is communicating with us all of the time. So the body is communicating through the symptoms and the illnesses that it gives you, okay? If we ignore those symptoms, those illnesses, those communications from the body will keep repeating them. Hence, a lot of people will recognise that what you have is patterns of illness, and you have a symptom that keeps popping up, and then it goes away, and then it pops up again, and it goes away, and it pops up again, because you're not listening to what the body's trying to communicate, if that makes sense. So with medical intuitives, there are people who sense what's happening inside the body. There are people who see what's happening inside the body, and in order to carry out or work as medical intuitives, we can use all of the 7 psychic senses. So there's seeing, there's hearing, there's sensing, there's feeling. Those 2 things to me are separate, although they're both clairsentience. And there's also tasting. There's smelling, and there's also knowing. I was once asked by a journalist, so is everybody psychic then? And I went, well, yes, everybody's psychic. And he said, well, how do I know that I'm psychic? Because I don't think I'm at all psychic. So I took him through some questions and answers, and he kept saying, no. And I said to him, okay, what about claircognizance? Everybody has some claircognizance, which is clear knowing, okay? So I said to him, do you ever get the impression that somebody's going to phone you, and then 5 minutes later, the phone rings and it's them? And he said, no. And in the end, I said to him, well, okay, maybe you're the only person in the whole of the planet I've ever come across that isn't psychic then. I gave up at that point. Okay, so as medical intuitives, we use a lot of our senses. Now, I was born with my brow chakra open, so I've always had the ability to see. And I got into medical intuition because I used to do readings and so on at the College of Psychic Studies, and it started with people coming along, and I would do the reading for them for the hour, and at the end I'd always say to people, have you got anything that you need to know? Yes, they'd say. Can you tell me if I've got cancer? And I'm like, why? Well, that's an odd question, but I learned to very quickly scan somebody's body and go, no, you haven't. Why do you think you've got cancer? And then a few years after that, I got plenty of practice at quick scanning of bodies through that. And then I had a friend arrive in my kitchen one day. We were standing and I was making him coffee. And he said to me, well, can you actually see inside the body then? And I went, oh, dunno, let's have a look. It's my upbringing, you see. Having been psychic since here, it's like, oh, dunno, let's have a look. I never ever have gone into, oh no, can't possibly do that. What do you mean look inside the body? Don't be crazy. And I stood there and for the next 10 minutes, I was watching his digestive system. And I thought, oh, this is cool. So I started to practice it and then decided that actually if I can do this, I can teach other people to do it as well. So hence the course that I'm doing next weekend on the Saturday and the Sunday, Introduction to Medical Intuition, and then the second day is Medical Intuition, the next steps. See, quite creative titling. So medical intuition can include anything. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual issues. So medical intuition, we can look at people's grounding. How do they ground? How deep do they ground? Do they ground from one foot better than they ground from the other foot? We can look at their aura, because viruses, coronavirus, hate to mention it, but the coronavirus, viruses, bacteria has to travel in through our auric field to get to the body. Yes? So different pathogens have different rates of travel through the body, so therefore different incubation periods. So a cough or a cold usually takes about 3 days. Measles, or something of that ilk, takes about 7 days because it's a heavier, denser, lower vibration energy. So it takes longer to travel. Makes perfect sense, you see. So when something is travelling in and out of the aura, that's when a medical intuitive can pick it up and go, aha, you've either just had X, Y, and Z, or this is coming into the energy field, let's clear it. We also relate to the chakras, because each chakra relates not just to all sorts of issues, aspects, qualities, but it relates to each of the organs and the systems in the body. Medical intuition takes in the physical body itself, and part of what I do as a medical intuitive is I talk to the body. I talk to parts of the body, I talk to the body as a whole. Believe you me, the body will talk back. And in a little while, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of exercises, and one of which will be talking to a part of your body. And believe you me, that part's going to talk back to you. Parts of the body tend to be very honest. So I give you fair warning. Okay, now the other thing about the body is that looking at which side of the body that the symptoms appear on. Okay? Because if all of your symptoms appear on the left side of your body, so it might be, left wrist, left hip, you might have your pancreas on your left, etc., etc. All of the symptoms, when you start to think about it, think, oh, they're all on one side of the body. Now, the left side of the body is the feminine aspect. The feminine aspect is our emotional side, our intuitive side, our creative side, our receptive side. Okay? We talk about left side of the body, right side of the brain. So we talk about the right side as being our creative part. Okay? So if all the symptoms are on the left side of the body, it means that either your feminine aspect is being really overworked or you're ignoring it. So if it's really overworked, these are the people who are very creative, very intuitive, very emotional, but can never get anywhere on time, always losing things, are very disorganized. Anybody recognizing this? Okay, so if you're overusing that part of your body and you're not using your masculine side, all of these symptoms can be on the left side of the body because you're overworking it. The other can happen if you ignore your intuitive, creative, emotional side and are very much in your head. And therefore, because you're ignoring the left side of the left side of the body is going, hey, I'm here. Listen to me, I'm going to cause you problems because you're not recognizing that I'm here. The third reason is that if all of the symptoms are on the left side of the body, the female side of the body, the feminine aspect, it can mean that there is a female in your life who is causing you some difficulties. And the other thing that can happen is that the feminine aspect might be relating to your feminine ancestral line, so the maternal ancestral line, that there is something coming down that maternal ancestral line. So there's 4 things that can be happening if all of your symptoms are on one side. If they're on the masculine, the same thing happens, just, swap masculine and feminine. So which side of the body also is very indicative of what the body is trying to communicate to you. Okay, we also look at the mind, we look at the mental energy. We're also looking at spiritual issues, and that can mean past life contracts, karmic issues, etc. Can also include ancestral issues that you might be holding in your body, because we don't arrive alone. We arrive with a history of our ancestors behind us, don't we? Maternal, paternal, etc. So we're carrying all of that information in our cells of our body, in our DNA. And the cells and the DNA have memory. You've heard of cell memory, yes? That's what we're accessing as a medical intuitive. We're also looking at belief systems, because your belief systems are going to affect your body and how your body operates. Your thoughts are going to affect how your body operates. Your thoughts are going to affect your feeling, are going to affect your body, etc. So your belief systems, the patterns that you have created, whether that be finance, relationship, etc. We're looking at patterns. What patterns are you repeating? What programs are you running? We are all programmed from little, when we're tiny. We are all programmed as to how to be, what to think, what to believe, what's acceptable, what's appropriate, what isn't, aren't we? And then as we grow, part of our process is to look at those programs and go, do I want to run this program? Do I believe this? And then you have to change how you do things. So with medical intuition, you can go anywhere. So often I would start talking to the body and find that there's perhaps a spirit attachment, or the person's under psychic attack, or whatever. You can go absolutely anywhere, because as soon as you start communicating with the body is going to tell you what the issue is and where it is. Is this making sense so far? Okay. Now, one of the things that we do as medical intuitives is we communicate with the body, and then we do a process of work with that person. Sometimes that work can take just an hour's appointment. I'll give you an idea. One of the things that I did was I had quite a famous UK actor come to see me, and he had had a right hip operation 2 years before, had his hip replaced. When he came to see me, he was limping, he was hobbling, etc., and he was in excruciating pain. And he'd been to see his surgeon and say, look, I'm really not happy with this hip replacement. It's never worked ever since you put it into the body. And he was an actor. He was in Hamlet. And every night, he would have to die on stage as Hamlet. And he would lie on stage in absolute agony for 20 minutes until the curtain came down. So it was quite desperate for him to get this thing sorted so that he could die on stage without being in agony. I love my job. So, in an hour's session, I will cut a very long story short, but basically I talked to the body. The body wasn't recognising that this new hip joint belonged to it. Part of this is to do with the language that we use. I've worked with people who've had organs transplanted into them, and they still talk about, well, it's her organ, it's the donor's kidney, the body, if you don't own something, it will go, it's not mine, therefore I need to get rid of it. Okay, so what he'd done was, this hip isn't mine, this hip is causing me pain, this hip joint is a problem. So the body's going, okay, let's get rid of it then. Now, in that hour's session, what I worked out was what was happening to the body, that the body needed to own the hip joint. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the hip joint. I could see it clearly. It had been suited properly. There was no problem with it at all. And suddenly I got this information the body gave me. The body showed me a picture. At the age of 9, he'd come off his bike. He'd had quite a severe accident, right leg. He'd ended up in hospital at night because he'd come off his bike and done quite a serious damage to himself. And that night, he was on an adult ward. Now, this person is older than I am, and it was in the days that when you went to hospital as a child, your parents didn't come with me. It wasn't a nice children's ward. He was in the adult ward. And during the night, the man in the next bed died. Yeah, you can imagine the impact on a 9-year-old. Okay. So at the age of 27, the body's then telling me 27. So I said to him, okay, at 27, there's an impact, there's another impact. Oh, right, it's another bike. The body's just told me it's another bike. He said, oh, yeah, that's right. He said, 27. I came off my motorbike and I said, don't tell me you hurt the right leg. And he went, yeah. So the body has repeated a pattern. There is a problem here. So then he has his right hip replaced. Now, all I did was do work with the body, communicating with the body that this hip joint belongs to you. You've got to look after it. It's a really good thing. Give healing to the 9-year-old who had had that horrendous experience when he'd fallen off his bike. Gave healing to the 27-year-old. 1 hour it took me. And at the end of that, he got off my table. He was not limping. He was no longer in pain. He phoned his surgeon. The operation to replace the hip joint again was cancelled. That is the power of being able to communicate with your body on a level that your body understands it. Now, you can do this yourself before you go to the dentist, before you go to the doctor, you prepare your body, you talk to your body. Just as you would with a child, if you take a child to have surgery or an operation or a dental appointment, you sit the child down and you explain to the child, now when we get there, you know, the doctor's going to have a mask on and he's going to do X, Y, and Z and, you know, it might hurt a bit or whatever, but it'll be over really soon. And then you're going to have, you know, a nice new filling in your tooth and then you'll be able to eat the chocolate that's been upsetting your tooth. So we explain to a child, do the same to your body. Your body will understand. The body will accept that because just as the body communicates to you, you are also, all the time, you're communicating to your body. How many times do you get home at the end of the day and go, oh God, I'm dead on my feet? Yes? I am heartbroken. So-and-so's a real pain in the neck. Yes? The number of people who came to me with neck problems and they go, oh, you know, my neck's giving me real jippy, it's quite painful. And I'd say to them, who's the pain in the neck? Oh, I know exactly who you mean. Yes? Your body is communicating to you. So, the other thing that we do with people is that we talk about changing their behaviour, changing their language. So just as we talk about ownership, we also have to teach the body not to own something. So if somebody comes to me and they are talking about my cancer, I teach them to talk about the cancer or I have cancer. As soon as you say my, the body's going, oh, right, it's mine, I need to look after it. Yes? So language is really important. Communication is really, really important. So think about the language that you use to your body. Okay? Think about how your body is communicating with you. What's it trying to communicate? That's what medical intuition is about. So we put all of that information together, along with where it's happening in the body, which energy system it's operating in, which chakra, which level of the aura is it, how grounded are they, etc., etc. We put all of that together to make sense of what the body's trying to communicate. I want you to think about an illness that you've had. Now, it needs to be one at a time in your life that you can remember. You can remember what happened before it, what happened during, and what happened afterwards. So don't choose a childhood illness that you had that you can't really remember anything around that time. Does that make sense? So don't put yourself in any distress or discomfort doing this exercise. Okay, so what I want you to do then is to put both feet on the ground, close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you're dropping an anchor down from your left foot, an anchor down from your right foot, and an anchor down from your spine. So you're dropping 3 anchors into the earth, as deep as you can. And this is to help you to ground. The body likes to be grounded. It feels nice and safe. Now, when you're grounded, I want you to focus in your heart center. If you don't know where your heart center, your heart chakra is, that's fine. Just focus in the center of your chest. It's a place of allowing. So you're just going to allow this to take place and the information to come to you. You don't have to try too hard. You don't have to go into worry about it. I want you to take yourself back to that time of illness. What was it like? Think about how it affected you physically. How it affected you emotionally. How it affected you mentally. And how it affected you spiritually. What issues came up for you at that time? What impact did your illness have on your daily life? Your home, your family, your work, your finances. What impact did that illness have on you? Now go back to the time just before you became ill. What was happening for you in your daily life? So were you studying? Were you at work? What was happening at home? What was happening in your relationships? And before you got sick, think about how you were physically. Was your body trying to communicate with you? Before you got sick, how were you emotionally? How were you mentally? How were you spiritually? So why did you become ill at that time? Now move forward to the time after the illness. What changed and how did it change? What did you lose? What did you gain? What did you achieve through that illness? Now consider, what have you learned about yourself and why you became ill on that occasion? Do you see any patterns with other times of illness in your life? And then in your head, without too much thought, I want you to complete the sentence. When I am ill, it is because I... Okay, now I want you to center back in your heart if you've wandered off. And I want you to check your grounding. So check those anchors are still deep down into the earth, from your feet, from your spine. So you're properly in your body. You can feel the chair that's supporting you. You can feel your feet in contact with the floor. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so what are the sentences that you got? If you want to be brave enough to say something, at the end of the sentence, when I am ill, it is because I... Give me some examples. What did you get? Come on, be brave. Put your hand up. Sorry? I don't have banners. You don't have banners? Oh, okay. You don't have boundaries. Yeah? So it's when I'm ill, it's because I don't have boundaries. I haven't said no. I do too much. I overstress myself. Okay? Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
I need rest.
Yes. When I'm ill, it's because I actually need rest. I haven't listened to the communication from my body. My body has been telling me, you've got to rest now, you've got to rest now, you've got to rest now. And we ignore it, don't we? Because in our head's going, oh, but I can't do that. I've got too much to do. I've got all these deadlines. I've got 3,000 things to do before 5 o'clock tonight. Yes? So we don't listen to what the body's communicating. Thank you. Any others? Yes, lady at the back with the scarf around your neck. You're afraid of? Oh, right. Putting your head above the parapet. Oh, okay. So that's very interesting. So every time your body feels or your mind feels, you need to be standing up for yourself. Yes? It's going to go, okay, I'm going to give you an illness or a symptom or something that's going to show you didn't stand up for yourself again. So it will show you the same pattern. Thank you. Lady in front of her. Yeah, in the blue. Blue top? Yeah, black top. Yes. And that's a big one for a lot of people. When I get ill, it's because I'm in a situation I shouldn't be in. It's in a situation I should have got myself out of. I'm in a situation which is toxic for me. I'm in a situation where I need to be confident enough to go, no, had enough, I'm off out of here. Yes? Big one. Thank you. Lady in front of her in the spotty top. When you worry too much. Okay, good. So when I get ill, it's because I am worried. Yes, I worry too much, I get stressed, I can't sleep, I don't eat well, or I overeat is the other one that the body does. Yes? Anybody else? Yep. Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? When I am ill, it's because I am holding on to the past. I can't let go of something. So think about what it is that you can't let go of. And I can bet you that if you think back over your life and you look at patterns, what you're not letting go of, it's a similar thing. It fits into the same pattern, doesn't it? Absolutely. So the body's going, another pattern. Here we go again. Yes? Good, thank you. Anybody else want to be brave? Yeah.
Sometimes I find that I end up much stronger because I've kind of fought back.
Yeah. Okay, so when I'm ill, it's because I need to make progress. I need to step forward. I need to develop to the next thing. So illness isn't always necessarily a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It can be a really good indicator for, okay, done it, been there, got the T-shirt, seen the video, I'm ready to move on now. Yeah? Brilliant. Thank you. Lady at the back with the glasses. Wow. Yes. So when I get sick, it's because I haven't put myself first. Yes? So that is a really good one for you to take home and think, okay, how am I going to make time to put myself first? At what point am I going to say, no, I can't do this? Because I think when you're in one of the emergency services, the service industry, etc., we have a great desire to, I've got to meet the needs of everybody else. I've got to be of service. I want to help people, yes. I got so fed up when I was interviewing, I used to work for social services, and I got so fed up with interviewing people. Why do you want to be a social worker? Because I want to help people. Next. So I think we tend to do that to ourselves, don't we? So we've got to think about, okay, I need time for me, because if we don't look after ourselves, we're not going to be the best paramedic that we can be. We're not going to be the best hospital, doctor, nurse, teacher, whatever you are. You're not going to be able to do it because you've given too much of yourself. You are omitting your self-worth. You're not acknowledging the value of yourself, and therefore your body's going to go, hey, it's me again. Once you've got the message from the body will stop giving you the symptom, will stop making you ill. Yes? How many people, when they did that exercise, started to see a pattern in terms of all of the other illnesses that you've had? Put your hand up. Okay, brilliant. So a lot of you are repeating patterns over time. And a lot of us are programmed to think about illness in a specific way. When I was raised, my mother was very clear. We do not get sick in our family. Yes? Now, lots of people have been raised with that same expectation. We do not get sick in this family. So as a child, I had, from the age of 7 to 11, every month I had tonsillitis. Throat chakra. Yes? Problem expressing something. So, every time I ended up with tonsillitis, she'd say, oh, you're fine, go to school. School would then send me home again. This child's got a raging temperature, and my mother would be furious. In my 30s, my body got so sick, and I was running from here. This bit downwards did not exist. I did not exist from the neck downwards. It was this bit that was running. So they would send me home from work because I'd collapsed again. I'd get up the next morning, I'd go into work, I'd do a whole day's work, invariably collapse at some point during the day, usually get on with the job, come home, go to bed, start it all again. And eventually, my AD, my assistant director, put paid to it and went, okay, you're going home and you're going to stay home for 3 months. I was furious. But at that point, my body had won. My body had been so desperate to communicate with me, and it was only when I was lying flat in bed for 3 months, could hardly move, do anything for myself, that I actually started to listen to my body. And I had to give in to it. And I had to relearn my behaviour, my thinking, my programming, my language. I'd never said no in my life. Now I say it an awful lot, as most of the students will find out. So I say no, and I say, I can't do that. But I also acknowledge when I can do something. And when I got that sick, I had to start saying, no, I can't do that. And then I had to relearn how to say, yes, I can do that. Yes? So we're always having to reprogram ourselves. And when I am ill, the classic ones are, when I am ill, it's because I need attention. Yeah? When I am ill, it's because I need to move on to something new, something different, something better. So the illness is putting an end to something. When I'm ill, it's because I'm going in the wrong direction. That was certainly where I was going. When I am ill, I am ashamed and need to avoid something or someone. I can't have sex with you tonight, darling, I have a headache. Anyone use that one? Heard that one? The funniest one I ever heard with this was that I had a lady come to see me, and we did this particular exercise. And she'd ended up in hospital with a very severe chest infection. She was in hospital for 3 weeks, and I took her back to, okay, what happened just before you got sick? What was happening? And she said, we had a Christmas party, and I got drunk, and I snogged my boss in the cupboard. I wanted to do what you're all doing. I had to keep my face straight, which is quite difficult for me. So in order to avoid work, she had got this chest infection, been hospitalised, etc. And I said to her, okay, so is there a pattern in your life when you've done this before? And she went, oh, God. At the age of 7, she said, I fell in love with a little boy at school. And we went into the cupboard in the school break. to show each other our bits. And she said, and when I came out the cupboard, this little boy told everybody what I'd done. And she said, I went home that night, and she said, I was so embarrassed. She said, I couldn't go to school the next day. And she said, I got really sick, and I had a really bad chest infection, and I had to stay off school for 3 weeks. And I said, what happened when you went back to school? Oh, they'd forgotten all about it. What happened when you went back to work after your hospitalisation? They'd forgotten all about it. Yes? So her pattern is, when I'm ill, it's because I'm ashamed and there was something I've done that I didn't want to do. So it's a case of them working with somebody to think about how can you do this differently. When I'm ill, it's because I don't want to do something, or when I'm ill, it's because I need to resolve something. So it's a case of thinking about, often don't do it while you're ill. The worst thing you want to be doing is lying in bed thinking, okay, what's my body trying to communicate to me? Do it afterwards. I used to teach at the College of Psychic Studies on the healing course, and there was one of the healing tutors there. She fell and she broke her ankle, so she arrived at the college in plaster, foot to knee. And she sat in the staff room and she said, if one more healing student asks me what this is about, she said, I'm going to kick them with it. So be careful, be sensitive about it, and also be sensitive to yourself. Think about, if you get sick, don't try and work it over and over, but you may find in hindsight that something comes to you and you can start to think, okay, well, why did I get sick then? I get sick because, yes? So it's a way of starting to be in tune with your body and starting to listen to the body. Okay, now I'm going to give you another exercise. This one is going to be talking to your liver. Do we know where our liver is? Now, my lady over here, the paramedic, knows exactly where her liver is. Put your hand on your liver. We've got livers in very funny places. Okay, your liver is on your right-hand side of the body. Yes? It is the second largest organ of the body. What's the first? The skin. Well done. Okay. So it's the second largest organ of the body. It weighs about 1.5 kilos. So it's the heaviest organ of the body. It's heavier than the brain. It's heavier than the lungs. And it runs from about the center of your body down under your ribs, right the way around the back. So all of this here is your liver. Okay. So now we found out where it is. If it's healthy, you would expect the liver to be a sort of a reddish-brown colour and to be quite soft. So don't do this to anybody else. But if you stick your fingers in here, you will feel that it's quite soft, it's quite malleable, yeah? That's what your liver's supposed to be like. Because if your liver is hard, it means that any organ that becomes hard can't work very well. Yeah, so it needs to be soft so that it works very well. The liver is part of the digestive system and it carries out more than 500 functions. It's a very, very important organ. Now, the other interesting thing about this organ is that it's the only organ of the body that can regenerate itself. Very clever. I'm one of those people who tends to watch open surgery, etc., while I'm eating my dinner. And I was watching surgery one night, and there was a little boy, he was about 2.5, 3, and he'd gone into liver failure, and they were looking for a donor. His father happened to be a match. So what they did was the liver has 2 lobes. Basically, it's got a right lobe on the right side of the patient, and then a left lobe, which is the smaller one in the middle. What they did was that they took the smaller left lobe from the father and put it in his son. Within months, the little boy had grown a right lobe, so had a complete liver. The man had grown a complete left lobe and therefore had a complete liver. Out of one liver, you've got 2 complete livers. It's the only organ in the body that can do that. Okay? Dead clever. So, one of the things that I do with most clients who come to see me is I have a conversation with their liver. The liver is very chatty. Think about a chatty Cathy, yes, absolutely. Now, everything that we eat, everything that we drink, everything that we inhale, everything that you take in through your skin goes through the liver. Absolutely everything. So start thinking about, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you inhaling? Pollution from the air, everything goes through the liver. So what it then does is it acts as a factory. So everything goes through it, it cleanses out, it gets rid of the stuff that we don't need, it stores and distributes the good stuff. So all the nutrients in the body that we need, it stores them in the liver and then distributes when we need it. It also produces cholesterol, it produces proteins, it produces about 1 litre of bile a day, which goes through your gallbladder, which helps to digest. Okay, so it's very busy, your liver. So, the liver is also governed by the solar plexus chakra. Okay, now your solar plexus chakra is often where we store anger, fear. We have issues of control. We have all sorts of issues at the solar plexus. If you follow traditional Chinese medicine, they will talk about different organs of the body holding different emotions. Liver traditionally is supposed to hold anger. Most livers have not read that book. So, if you ask a liver what emotion it's holding, it might come up with any form of emotion. So it might be sadness, it might be fear, it might be jealousy, it might be anger. You might get anger, you might get rage, you might get all sorts of things. Try not to preempt what you think is going to be the answer. So just as, the kidneys are supposed to be fear, the lungs are supposed to be sadness, etc. Those organs have not read the same book. So always go with, ask the question, see what answer you get. That's why we always work from the heart, because we work with allowing. We allow the answers. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this exercise is I'm going to get you to talk to your liver. This will be fun, won't it? Okay, so close your eyes, get your feet on the ground, just as you did before. Get those 3 anchors down, from your feet, from your spine, deep into the earth, deep as you can get them. Allow your body to ground. It likes being grounded. It feels stronger when it's grounded. And then when your body's grounded, bring your focus up into your heart. So you're in a place where you're allowing. There's no expectation, there's no judgment. You're just going to allow your liver to talk to you. Okay, so take your focus to your liver on your right-hand side. And I want you just to get a sense of, how does it feel? Is it tired? Is it energized? Is it busy? Is it struggling? How does it feel? Now I want you to ask your liver some questions. So the first question is, do you, liver, have enough water? Just allow the answer to come to you. Don't go into your head thinking, I've drunk 2 litres today, of course it's got enough. Ask the liver and let the liver answer you. Next question. What food does your liver need more of? What food does your liver need less of? Is there an emotion held in your liver? And is there anything else that the liver wants to tell you? Now thank the liver for talking to you, for communicating with you. And come back to your grounding. Check those 3 anchors are still down from your feet, from your spine. Check that you can feel your feet in contact with the floor. You can feel your body in contact with the chair. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so how chatty was your liver? Anybody surprised by the answers that they got? Anybody want to share some of the surprises that they got from their liver? What did your liver tell you that you were surprised to hear? Yes. Yeah, it's you. Yep. There you go. Okay. Can you relate that to anything specific? Yes. Okay, good. So you know why that's there. You know what it's about, and you know why that might be sat there. Yes? So that's part of the process that we would then take forward in a medical intuition session to work with that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Yes?
Tired?
Yes. Tired and hurting. Do you know why it's hurting? Okay. Is it physical hurting, emotional hurting, mental hurting? Okay. Spiritual? Okay, so physical and emotional hurting. Okay. Any idea of the cause or the source of that? Okay. And do you know where that stems from?
Very similar to the paramedics.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay. So your liver is storing all of that information. Yes? Your liver, because it's holding on to that, it means that your liver isn't able to process everything else that it's doing as effectively as it might do because it's holding on to that. Does that make sense? And that's the same for everybody. Whatever you've discovered in your liver that your liver's holding on to, it will be affecting how effective it is. Okay? Anybody else want to share? Okay. I often get asked this question, as a medical intuitive, what's the difference between talking to the body and doing a psychic reading? Yes? It's completely different where you're getting the information from and the energy. When I do a psychic reading, I'm connecting to source, I'm connecting to my guides, etc., etc. I'm doing a psychic reading here and giving information. When you do work as a medical intuitive, you connect with the body, with the person's body, and then you bring it back and you relate it to them. Yes, you're not doing a psychic reading. So that information, this is why it's harder to do it on yourself, because then you start thinking, my head's getting in the way here. Yes? Because if I asked my liver, what did it need more of, my liver's going to tell me I need more chocolate. Because if I'm in my head, of course I need more chocolate. But my liver is never, ever going to tell me you need more chocolate, is it? Yes? So when you work on yourself, it is so much harder because there's a conflict between how do I know that my liver's saying that and how do I know that that's my head saying that? And often it's a level of what you get from the liver, if you're actually communicating with the liver, is a form of something that surprises you. It tells you something and you're thinking, oh, hadn't thought about that, didn't know that. As I said at the beginning, I used to talk to a lot of people's livers to get information, particularly if a client came in and they would say, no, I'm not taking any medication. You go to the liver and it's going, medication? Yes, it gives the game away. People who've had a drink before they've arrived. No, I haven't drunk any alcohol. Your liver's going, yeah, she has. I had one woman one morning, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, it was my first appointment of the day, 10 o'clock appointment, and she arrived, And she was going on about something or other, and she was like, I keep putting on all this weight, and I don't know why I'm putting on all this weight. And I think it must be the spirits that are attached to me. And I'm looking at her going, you haven't got any spirits attached to you, but, you know, we'll have a look at it. And I said to her, well, tell me, how's your diet? Because we always like to look at the practical things. How's your diet? Oh, no, I eat lots of green, and I do all the healthy diet and whatever. But look at me, I'm still putting on weight. And she was fairly overweight. So I tune in, I talk to her liver, and her liver says, ask her about the apple pie and custard she had on the way to you this morning for breakfast. So I asked her, and she had to go, oh, yeah, I did stop for that. And she said, I also had a hot chocolate. And I thought, well, you know, so the liver will give you information as long as you can keep out of your head. Did anybody get the sense of a personality of their liver? Yes. Oh, why? Do tell. Well, there you go. Green beans, broccoli and water is actually good for you, apparently. Okay. Sometimes what your liver will do is show you something like broccoli to say, actually, I just need more green stuff. Doesn't matter what type of green stuff you eat, just eat more green stuff. Yeah, so if you don't like the beans and the broccoli, kale, spinach, whatever else that's green. Yes? So sometimes what the liver will do is it will often communicate with you in pictures. That's often what I get, yes? So when you get pictures, it will show you an image of something which is a symbolic image or representative of. So if you get, you know, a green piece of broccoli, it might just be saying, I want more green vegetables. Yeah, so vary that, and if it's saying I need more water, what it's meaning is I need more fluid in the body. So if you don't like plain water, just make sure that you drink enough fluid during the day, and then it will be happy. Yes, okay. So if you're drinking a lot of coffee, it's not going to like it. No. So, yes. Exactly. So your liver will tell you something that maybe you don't want to know. Yes, lady over the back. Okay. Okay, so grief in particular, it's why I always say to people, we don't just store grief in the bit of the body that it says in the textbook. Your body will store grief where it's right to store grief for you. That grief may move around as the grief progresses. Yes? Now, if you think about it, if you find, say, grief in your liver, then it's a case of sitting with that grief, going through, where does this come from? Is there a pattern in this? Is there another origin in this? So if somebody has an awful lot of loss in their life, is there anger associated with that loss? It's feeling like grief, but actually is there anger? Is there resentment? Is there frustration? Is there something else that goes with that has not yet been understood or explored? Yes? So whenever we find an emotion, we're always looking at what is that emotion trying to tell us? What is the liver trying to tell us by saying, you've got grief here, didn't expect that, did you? But I'm holding grief for you, yes? And it's saying to you, you need to look at this. Because again, if you continue to store grief in your liver without sitting with it, without processing it, without crying, without doing letting go ceremonies or however you're going to deal with grief, because everybody deals with grief completely differently, and there is no time limit. I'm dead against this thing about you need to do it in a year. You know, get over the first birthday, anniversary, Christmas, and then get on. No, it doesn't happen like that. So if your body is still storing that emotion, it's storing it for a reason. There are some things that you are never going to get over, but you will process to a level where you can hold it in the body, that the body remembers it, that the body can bring up when it's right to, but it's not going to store it and hold on to it, which is then going to cause a problem for that organ. Does that make any sense? Yeah? Good, thank you. Anything else? There was somebody else over here. Yeah. Some people find it harder than others. Some people, it's why I gave you the example at the beginning of my friend who was in my kitchen and said, oh, can you see inside the body then? And I went, ooh, dunno, let's have a look. What most people do, I'm quite an oddball, so that is my response. What most people would do in that situation would go, don't be stupid, of course I can't look inside the body. This gets in the way. So when I say to you, okay, you're going to have a conversation with your liver, your head might have gone, you're going to do what? This woman's just flown in from London, who does she think she is? Yes? So there could be anything going on, because as that lady said over there, the subconscious plays a part in this. Yes? So your subconscious mind might be going, oh no, we're not going to go there. There's too much there, we don't want to look at it, or whatever. So don't feel disappointed. You might be one of those people who needs to do this a few times in order to develop your confidence in doing it and get your head out the way. Exactly. So therefore, if there's other parts of the body, go to those first. You know, don't go to the liver, go to those bits first. But also, if you want to know what your liver has answered to those questions that I gave you tonight, ask somebody else to tune in for you. Yes? So there's ways around it. Yeah? There you go. So your liver might be going, you've taken me gallbladder, I don't want to give you any further information, thank you very much. Yeah, but there can also be, you see, fear linked with, you've already had that part of the body invaded, something's been cut out, something's been taken away. So that part of the body might be going, no, I'm protecting this, you're not going to go in there. It's too sensitive, it's too raw, it's too whatever. Go to somewhere else, go to your left knee. Look, your left knee's been causing you a problem, go there. Yes? Better diversionary tactics. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so very last thing is I'm going to take you through a meditation, and this is a cellular healing meditation, so that it allows you to give healing to the different parts of the body right the way down into the cellular level. Okay, so again, feet on ground, sit in a nice comfortable position and close your eyes. Now try and centre in your heart again, so that you're in that space of allowing rather than expecting and judging. And I want you to get a sense of your connection to the light from above, the light from source, the light from spirit, the light from God, however you see that. And allow that light from above to flow through you and around you. And then think of it flowing into and through your skin, your muscles, your bones. Healing and strengthening. Imagine that light flowing in your bloodstream all the way around your body. And as that blood flows through your body, it's taking its light and energy throughout the body. Cleansing, healing, rejuvenating. Now sense that light flowing through and around all of your organs. So think about the brain, coming down to the heart and the lungs in your chest, coming down into all of the organs in your abdominal cavity. Allow that white light and energy to flow through and around all of your organs. Notice which ones really need that healing light. Bring that light down another level into the cells of the body. Imagine the light flowing into and around the cells, cleansing, healing, and strengthening them. And as that light flows into the cells, it raises the vibration of each and every one of the billions of cells in your body. As you raise the vibration of your body's cells, you are able to bring in more light. And as each cell dies and is replaced by a new cell, it has the potential to also vibrate at this new, higher frequency. Now I want you to come back to the center, into your heart, and notice how your body feels. And then bring your attention to your grounding. So think about those 3 anchors from your 2 feet, from your spine. Make sure that they're down really deep into the earth. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Now that exercise you can do yourself. You can take longer at it, you can do it at the pace I did it, or you can take longer at it. The more you do that, if you think about raising the vibration and the frequency of your cells, you're helping your body come back to optimum health. Your body and mind is always trying to strive to a position of optimum health. Okay? So if you do that just once a day, see what effect it has for you. Okay, you've worked really well tonight, guys. I'm really happy with how things have gone. I hope you've got a lot from it. As I said at the beginning, and Cindy said, if you want to do the weekend, it's not this weekend, next weekend. On the Saturday, I'm doing Introduction to Medical Intuition, which doesn't do exactly what we've done today. So if you come, don't think that we're going to be repeating this. This is a bit different. And then on the Sunday, we do Next Step. So if you want to do that, you can sign up. You can go onto the website. You can speak to Cindy, etc. And we can send you the links if you email in or have struggle with the website. But thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in, being such a fabulous audience. And I'm going to leave you in peace now.